Welcome back to our YouTube channel. This is Narayan Rao Kovur. In this video, I am going to explain marginal rate of substitution (MRS). Marginal rate of substitution. What is the meaning of marginal rate of substitution? And what is the indifference schedule, indifference curve, and two reasons for diminishing marginal rate of substitution, and what is the importance of MRS, marginal rate of substitution. Right. MRS is the rate at which one commodity is exchanged for another commodity. The level of satisfaction remains constant. This is called marginal rate of substitution. Marginal rate of substitution is the rate at which a consumer is prepared to exchange good X and good Y. The consumer is prepared to exchange good X and good Y. This is known as marginal rate of substitution. In other words, MRS X for Y is the maximum amount of Y whose loss can be compensated by unit gain of X. This is also called marginal rate of substitution. So loss is equal to gain. The level of satisfaction remains constant. Y ద్వారా లాస్ వస్తే X ద్వారా గెయిన్ వస్తుంది. అల్టిమేట్గా లెవెల్ ఆఫ్ సాటిస్ఫాక్షన్ రిమైన్స్ కాన్స్టెంట్. నెక్స్ట్, యూనిట్స్ ఆఫ్ గుడ్ X ఇంక్రీజెస్, units of good Y decreases, but MRS or trade-off or sacrifice becomes smaller and smaller. This is called diminishing marginal rate of substitution. That is why IC is convex to the origin point. Very, very important point. That is, units of good X increases, units of Y decreases, but MRS or trade-off or sacrifice becomes smaller and smaller. 6 to 1. It becomes smaller and smaller. This is called diminishing marginal rate of substitution. Hence, IC curve is convex to the origin point. This is convex to the origin point. Origin point ki convex lo undi. Next. So, observe the schedule. Indifference schedule. Combinations good X, good Y, MRS. Combination A 1 plus 12, MRS is nil. So combination B, so if you want to purchase good X extra, you should give up 6 units of Y. That is called MRS is 6. And so on D. If you want to 4 units of good X, you should give up so 1 unit of good Y. That is called MRS is 1. So if exchange of goods, MRS is decreasing and becomes smaller and smaller. 6 to 1. This is called diminishing marginal rate of substitution. That is why indifference curve is convex to the origin. గుడ్ ఎక్స్ బదులు వైని సబ్స్టిట్యూట్ చేస్తుంటే ఎంఆర్ఎస్ డిక్రీజ్ అవుతుంది. దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ డిమినిషింగ్ మార్జినల్ రేట్ ఆఫ్ సబ్స్టిట్యూషన్. సో ఇఫ్ యూ అబ్జర్వ్ దిస్ డయాగ్రామ్, సో ఏ టు బి దిస్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ స్లోప్, బి టు సి దిస్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ స్లోప్, సి టు డి దిస్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ స్లోప్. సో ఎంఆర్ఎస్ ఈస్ డిక్రీజింగ్ smaller and smaller. So slope of indifference curve is MRS. MRS is equal to delta Y by delta X. Delta Y by delta X. Change in the Y by change in the X. That is called marginal rate of substitution. Substitute చేస్తున్నంత కాలం MRS decrease అవుతుంది. So here if you observe 6, if we observe 2, if we observe 1, 6 to 1, 6 to 1, becomes smaller and smaller. When we exchange one good for another, MRS is decreasing. That MR is decreasing and becomes smaller and smaller. Right. Next. Two reasons for diminishing MRS. There are two important reasons why there is a MRS is diminishing. One is the more and more units of a consumer is needed, the consumer's intensity of want for it fall. Consumer prefer more and more units of a good, the consumer's intensity of want for it falls. కన్జ్యూమర్ యొక్క ఇంటెన్సిటీ క్రమంగా తగ్గిపోతుంది. కన్జ్యూమర్స్ ఇంటెన్సిటీ ఆఫ్ వాంట్ ఫర్ ఇట్ ఫాల్స్. దట్ ఈస్ వై ఎంఆర్ఎస్ ఈజ్ డిక్రీజింగ్. సెకండ్ వన్, imperfect substitutes, not perfect substitutes. So MRS is decreasing. MRS is decreasing. In both the cases, consumers' intensity of want for it falls. Goods are imperfect substitutes, not perfect substitutes. These are the two reasons why there is a MRS is diminishing. Next, moving down along indifference curve. Moving down along indifference curve. Consumption of Y falls. Consumption of Y falls. TU of X decreases. TU of X decreases. That is MUY into delta QY. MUY into delta QY. Consumption of Y falls. Consumption of Y falls. So total utility of X decreases, then MUY into delta Y. Next, consumption of X rises. Consumption of X rises. Consumption of X rises. TU of Y increases. So that is MUX into delta QX. MUX into delta QX. Two opposite effects on TU. Two opposite effects on TU. In the case of consumption of Y falls, TU of X decreases. In the case of consumption of X rises, TU of Y increases. Two opposite effects on TU, but to maintain the same level of satisfaction or total utility. Loss of Y is equal to gain of X. Ultimate the same level of satisfaction. The consumer gets same level of satisfaction. So fall in TU due to less consumption of Y. Fall in TU due to less consumption of Y is equal to rise in TU due to more consumption of X. So both are equal. That is minus MUY into delta QY is equal to MUX into delta QX. So fall in TU due to less consumption of Y equal to rise in TU due to more consumption of X. Both are equal. Ultimately level of satisfaction remains constant. Along the indifference curve, delta QY by delta QX is equal to minus MUX by MUY. Hence MRS XY is equal to delta Y by delta X. Delta Y by delta X is equal to MUX by MUY. This is called marginal rate of substitution. Very, very important points. 4 points. Very, very important. Please note it. Point number 1. MRS is constant. The goods are perfect substitutes. Price shape of the price line is slopes downwards as a straight line. MRS is constant. Goods are perfect substitutes. And slope of the price line is slopes downwards as a straight line. Point number 2. MRS decreases or diminishes. So examples are imperfect substitutes, not perfect substitutes. Shape of the price line is convex to the origin. Convex to the origin point. MRS increases. Examples are imperfect substitutes, not perfect substitutes. Shape of the price line is concave to the origin. Concave to the origin. And last one, MRS is 0 or undefined. MRS is 0 or undefined. Examples are perfect complementaries. Perfect complementaries are footwear or earrings. Earrings or footwear. Shape of the price line is L shape. Shape of the price line is L shape. So very important point regarding marginal rate of substitution. This is something the information regarding marginal rate of substitution. Slope of indifference curve is equal to MRS. That MRS is equal to delta y by delta x. That is equal to MUX by MUY. MUX by MUY. This is something the information regarding the details of marginal rate of substitution. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe and comment.